Hi, and welcome to Lost Genre Entitled Parents, where an entitled mom just believes that spitting on someone's face is totally okay. I was doing my usual thing, working the electronics section at my job, helping customers as best I could and doing my best not to get fired for being on my phone, when this mom and her daughter came up asking to get one of the few Nintendo Switches we had left along with a copy of Animal Crossing. I pulled it out for them and brought them to the register, and the total came up to just under $400. The mother, henceforth to be referred to as Entitled Mom, hands me 4 $100 bills, and this is where the problem started. Recently, the store I work at had a massive issue with counterfeit bills, so now the new store policy is to run any bill over $20 through this machine that will test it and determine if it's legitimate or not. In the event that the machine determines them to be fake, we're ordered to call a manager down right away, and under no circumstances are we to give the money back. I already had some small red flags going off since these bills felt too much like regular paper. But when I started to run the bills through the machine, Entitled Mom started demanding to know what I was doing, which set off another red flag in my brain. I let her know what I was doing, and she got very defensive right away, telling me how the bills were real and how she had just picked them up from the bank. When I told her that it was the store policy, she got very irritated and told me to hurry up and looked really jumpy, just constantly looking around and swaying back and forth like she was on something. I ended up running all the bills at least 5 times each, and every time the machine said they failed whatever authenticity check it ran on them. At that point, I start following store policy and call the manager down while trying to play it off like it's just a simple glitch we needed fixed. I guess she got spooked by that because she immediately demanded I give her her money back, saying how she'll go somewhere else. When I told her I couldn't, she went into full Karen meltdown mode, pulling out her phone to record me, demanding to tell her my full name, and worst of all, kept insinuating that I was treating her this way because she was a person of color. For whatever reason, the manager was taking forever to come down, and things were only getting worse as Entitled Mom continued to make more of a scene, when out of nowhere, she tried reaching over the counter to grab the Switch. I managed to pull it out of her reach just in time and got on the walkie-talkie to call security, when all of a sudden she spits in my face, calls me a and then storms out of the store with her kid, who was screaming and crying. Maybe 5 minutes later, the manager comes down and I get to explain what happened. He ran the bills through the machine and got the same result as all of them failing. And maybe a half an hour later, I was giving a statement to some rather disinterested looking cops. I called my boss after that, and she said I could go home for a few hours early if I wanted to, which I took her up on. I got home, took a couple of showers, and thought I'd share how my day went. So many wrong things with this lady. The worst, spitting on someone's face. Especially with everything that's going on with the pandemic and the virus and all that stuff, that's just a really huge health risk. And I'd get tested if somebody did that to me. That's just not safe at all. That sucks. Alright, well, let's move on to the next post. Background: I'm a cashier/stalker at a local grocery store in my town. Due to this being an essential establishment, we've been able to stay open. The problem is, the store doesn't provide us employees with much to protect ourselves. The best they've been able to give us is disposable gloves, which I suppose is still better than nothing. Still, I live with my 60-year-old mom, and I don't want to bring home anything from work that might put her at risk. I voiced these concerns to a friend of mine who makes masks, and she happily made one for me. I've been wearing it to every one of my shifts, and I've received many comments from people asking me where I got it. Once I explained to them that a friend made it for me, they usually drop the subject. Until yesterday, that is. So there I was, standing in my lane and watching the clock slowly tick by. I had already had some particularly infuriating customers before Entitled Mom showed up, so I was more than ready for my shift to be over. I see Entitled Mom approaching from a distance and suspect nothing of her. for she doesn't hold the trademark appearance of your typical Karen. Oh, how naive I was. Entitled mom pushes her cart through my lane and I plaster a forced smile on my face and switch into customer service mode. We make small polite conversation and she seems nice enough. But then, she asked me the fateful question that started this whole debacle.
So, where did you get your mask?
Oh, a friend made it for me.
Well, it's very pretty. Looks well made too.
It is a pretty mask, a sky blue fabric decorated with roses. My friend knows me well. Yeah, my friend has made a lot of masks, so she's pretty good at it. Entitled mom then gestures to her daughter, who is sitting in the cart playing on some kind of tablet.
I wish I could find a mask for my daughter. I wouldn't want her catching anything.
I'm sure you can find someone in your neighborhood who makes them, or you could try and make one yourself. They're pretty easy to make. And then Entitled Mom says this.
I don't suppose you could just give me yours?
I'm a bit taken aback by this question and move away from her a couple of inches. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to say no. I need this mask for my job.
Well, can't you just get your friend to make you another one?
She's very backed up on orders from people asking her to make masks for them. Besides, I've been wearing this mask all day. It's full of my germs.
Oh, I can just wash it when I get home.
I'm sorry, but I'm not giving you my mask. I need it to keep me and my family safe. Entitled Mom has started sounding like your average Karen at this point. It's also worth noting that she kept slowly inching towards me during this exchange, as we kept going back and forth with her saying that her daughter absolutely needs it and me saying that I need it because I'm an essential worker. She kept getting louder and louder to the point where one of my managers noticed us and was watching the exchange. After another minute or so of going back and forth, Entitled Mom suddenly lunges forward and tries to grab at my mask. I am able to move my head way back and avoid her, but her fingers almost graze the fabric. That was enough for the manager to step forward and put a stop to her antics. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
But this woman just stole my daughter's mask. My daughter needs it.
Ma'am, I was watching the whole exchange and I know that that's not true. Leave now before I call the police. At the mention of getting the cops involved, Entitled Mom realized that she could easily get arrested since we also have cameras over all of the check stands. She lifts her daughter out from the cart and leaves in a huff with no groceries and no mask. Thank God for my vigilant manager. The nerve of some people to just go and claim, my daughter needs that mask and this lady stole it from her? What the hell? What? Oh my God. Some people really just live in their own little world and that's about it. Oh wow. Okay, well let's move on to the next post. To preface this story, this is before the pandemic. I teach gymnastics in a very affluent part of a very big city in Southern California. You know the one. Most of the kids I work with are either Russian or Israeli and speak Russian or Hebrew. I've encountered a lot of entitled parents in my time at this gym, most of them irritating and not worth posting about. But there's one Russian mom who is absolutely off her rocker. My boss has some experience with her and doesn't put up with her BS. Every school holiday, we have day camps where 30 plus kids come to the gym and we play games, practice gymnastics, generally F around. Our camps are really popular and usually fill up at least a week in advance. Additionally, we allow parents to use their kids' missed classes / makeups as credit towards a day of camp for a reduced rate. This particular day of camp, I was working at the front desk and we were slammed. I'd already turned multiple walk-ins away because we were over capacity for USAG regulations, which is in violation of our insurance policy. Around 2 hours after camp started, close to 11 a.m., this kid walks in the front door by himself. This is weird for two reasons. One, because parents are supposed to come inside and sign their kids in and out. Two, because Entitled Mom sent us an email the night before that explicitly instructed us not to enroll her kid in camp and not to charge her card. So I ask her kid to run outside and ask his mom to please come in so I can sort things out. He opens the door, yells back and forth with her in Russian for a bit, and closes the door as entitled mom drives away. Kid tells me that entitled mom is going to call me. Great. This is how the most insane phone conversation of my life went. Entitled mom from an anonymous number, might I add.
What?
Hi, I just wanted to speak with you because I'm a bit confused. Last night, you sent us an email instructing us not to enroll your kid in camp.
Yes, because last time you enrolled him, you charged my card $65 one day of camp, and you stole my money.
Ma'am, that is how much one full day of camp costs. I'm going to have to ask you to come pick up your son because we're at capacity for the day.
No, there is no way your camp is full. I unenrolled him last night when I sent you the email.
Yes, and we had a walk-in this morning that took his spot.
No, I sent that email at 10 last night. There's no way your camp is full between now and then.
Actually, we had the last spots taken by a few walk-ins this morning, so we are full. You can't just drop your son off here without paying after instructing us not to enroll him.
There's no way your camp is full. I sent that email at 10 last night.
5 full minutes of me trying to explain to her how spots are limited, and when she gave her kid's spot up, it became available for the first person to walk in. Eventually, she seems to get it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Extended pause.
Well, you just have to call one of those other parents and tell them you made a mistake and they need to come get their child because my son is special and has been taking classes there for a while and he deserves it.
Excuse me? That's not how this works. Your son lost his spot when you told us to unenroll him.
My son deserves to be there. He's more important than the other kids and has been there longer, so you can call their parents and tell them you made a mistake.
No, you need to come get your child.
But I made plans.
I'm sorry, but we don't have room for him because you specifically told us not to enroll him.
Because last time you stole from me. You took $65 from me. I work hard for my $65.
That's how much one day of camp costs.
No, I wanted to use makeups and you charged my card $65 and stole from me.
Ma'am, we don't know you want to use makeups unless you come in and tell us. Most people just use them for another class.
Oh, that makes sense.
Silence. Yes, I'm going to need you to come pick your son up.
But I have to work.
And I thought she made plans. I understand, but we don't have room for your son. It's against USAG regulations for us to take him. So you can either come get him or I can have my boss call you.
No, I don't want to talk to your boss.
Then you need to come get your son.
I can't. I have to work.
Fine, I'll have my boss call you.
I don't want to talk to your boss.
Either you can come get your son or I can have my boss call you.
I don't want to talk to your boss.
Okay, this conversation is unproductive. I'll have my boss call you. I hung up and called my boss as promised. Her kids still come to class, but she's banned from bringing them to camp unless she walks them in and pays at the beginning of the day. She still constantly brings them in an hour before our half day starts and asks me if I'll be charging her for a half day instead of full, and I always politely tell her that no, I'll be charging her for the full day. Now she just speaks to her kids in Russian and has them talk to me for her. Okay, well, the conversation was pretty self-explanatory. There's not much for me to say here, but that woman is nuts and entitled. Alright, so on that note, let's move on to the final post. Backstory. Beginning of quarantine, right when all the rushes on the supermarket started and the paper goods started vanishing. I got a phone call from my mother at like 7 a.m. telling me to switch on the news and that I should probably run to the store now. I look in my storage closet, one roll of TP left. Well, crap. Okay, guess I have to go. So I get to the first store. They have the groceries I need, but no TP. Go to the second store, nada. A third store, nada. Finally, I get on the highway and drive 30 minutes upstate. There, on the shelves, under the red glow of a giant bullseye, are 4 27 packs of TP. The only packs in the store. The only packs within miles. I've struck gold, folks. I only need the one thing, so I didn't take a cart. Curiously, there were several shoppers with carts just sort of, I don't know, patrolling if you will, as if they were in a slight orbit around these TP packages, with one eye looking out front and the other trained on the shelf. I got the feeling that no one wanted to be the first to make a grab for the TP. Well, let me tell you, I grabbed one of those packs so fast it was like lightning, faster than a speeding bullet, deadlier than the strike of the mantis shrimp. I like to wipe my ass, folks. So now I've got the TP in hand, white knuckles like you wouldn't believe, and I go to make a hasty beeline for the checkout. Immediately, one of the orbital shoppers, an early middle-aged woman with a half-full cart, starts chasing me, all the while shouting,
"Hey, I need those! I have children! I need those! Don't ignore me, you F! You don't need those! I have children!"
I don't know what it is with people like this, but they only seem to want things that other people have. You see, despite the fact that there were 3 unclaimed 27 packs of TP on the shelf, none of those other shoppers made a move, this woman had to have mine. Because I guess the idea that a single man could be buying TP when her children needed ground her gears that much? I mean, how did she know I didn't have 13 good Christian children of my own back home? I don't, but the point still stands. Anyway, I'm still moving towards the register. It's all the way across the store, ugh. And she's still hooting and hollering at me with the "I have kids" and the "Stop ignoring me," while following about 10 feet behind and closing. Finally, I've had enough. I turned and loudly enough for half the store to hear, shout the first thing that popped into my head. I have diarrhea! Well, let me tell you, she came to a wide-eyed screeching halt. Without a word, she turned around and went straight back from when she came. I managed to get to the register without further incident. In fact, after my announcement, just about everybody was keeping their distance. I checked out, ran to my car clutching that package like it was the Ark of the Covenant, and headed home to deal with my non-existing diarrhea. Imagine my shock when I got home to find my roommate proudly displaying the TP he had managed to find just 10 minutes from our apartment on his first try. Don't get me wrong, I know that taking care of kids is incredibly important, but it's not a reason parents should be throwing around for other people to do things for them, you know, like the lady who wanted the mask, now this lady with the TP, or the Russian lady just dropping off her son like that. Like, what's up with that? I don't get it. Anyways, I hope you guys liked today's video. If you did, go ahead and press that like button right underneath it. And I hope you stick around the channel for more content similar to this and other funny posts. Having said that, I'll see you guys on the next video.